Hello, everyone. My name is Talat Uppal, and I am an obstetrician and a gynecologist based in the northern beaches of Sydney. I am a director of a model of care called Women's Health Road, which is a unique multidisciplinary model for women during their health journeys. And it has been my absolute pleasure to endorse this amazing book that Annie Gibbins has written, and hoping that all the tips and the lessons learned and the gains that she has had and her family has experienced will be shared by women and families everywhere, particularly parents of multiple pregnancies. So I'd like to go through what I wrote in the endorsement with you all. So motherhood at the best of times is a combination of immense joy and constant challenge, we know. As an obstetrician, as a mum, and as a personal friend of Annie's, truly my mind boggles at the thought of how she and James managed, when they exploded into parenthood in their early 20s by having two sets of twins in 26 months. So while the visual image for me of a double pram plus a toddler at each end would overwhelm most parents of singletons, Annie speaks of it in the most natural way. So after all, it was her daily reality and a necessity in the years pre-internet while James was at work. So according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics data in 2017, in Australia, twins represent about 1.4% of all births. This is an increasing trend, though, and this has been seen over the last 2 decades, and partly attributed to increasing maternal age at delivery, partly to the use of assisted reproductive treatments. We also know that twin pregnancies are influenced by family history and ethnic background. However, sometimes, like the Gibbins found, they just surprise us. So as an obstetrician, twin pregnancies do in general mean higher risk pregnancies. This is starting from the very beginning, where we use ultrasound to triage what type of twins they are. So for example, whether they are identical, which are called monozygotic, or fraternal, which are called dizygotic twins. And generally speaking, we do recommend additional monitoring, and that is to minimize any additional risks that may be present. So for example, we know that mothers of twins do have an increased risk of having gestational diabetes, high blood pressure, anemia, requiring operative delivery, including a cesarean section. We know that there can be higher chance of bleeding after birth. There is a higher potential for postnatal depression, but then this allows us to provide additional support and also planning and assistance should be offered as appropriate. So 50% of twin pregnancies are actually born prematurely. That's before the 37 weeks of pregnancy. And we know that babies are more likely to be smaller or low birth weight for gestational age. However, there have been so much advances in medicine. So these significant advances in caring for these babies mean that there is better survival and good survival of these babies in general. So I'm so glad that Annie's sharing her story, and there's so much value in sharing the tips and experiences around how they coped as a family, how they raised their amazing children, how she still pursued her heartfelt professional dreams and vision, and frankly, how she stayed sane during that journey. So every woman does have a roadmap regarding what she wants out of life, and her individual plan may be a combination of her personal, of her professional, of her motherhood-based goals. And the good thing about reading a book like this, where someone inspirational like Annie candidly communicates about the high and the low points of her story, is that I'm hoping that women and their families will identify with some of those points and appreciate the overall positivity and gain hope from her struggles and the happy endings. And so that, they learn from her strength, her resilience, her actual strength. So I first met Annie when she was the CEO of Australian Society of Ultrasound in Medicine. And even during that social conversation, I felt that, look, if she could be that successful while juggling the demands of 5 children, family, and work, then so could I. And I'm hoping that that same can do energy comes across to all who read this book. Enjoy.